everyone, 大家好. Welcome to Chichi's Lingoland. My name is Sangqi Akiko. In the last video, I talked about third tone changes. Today, I'm going to talk about the other two sets of tonal changes, bu and yi. Well, there seems to be so many rules, it can be quite overwhelming. But as I said before, once you find the patterns, it's actually not that tough. There are actually similarities between third tone changes and the rules of bu and yi. So let's begin by reviewing the rules of third tone changes. When a third tone is followed by another third tone, the first third tone becomes a second tone. Remember the rule of likes repel? And when a third tone is followed by other tones, namely a first, second, or fourth tone, the third tone becomes a half third tone. At this point, I'd like to point out that the term half third tone actually doesn't exist in the minds of Chinese people. Now, this is quite confusing, isn't it? In the last video, I took pains to explain the difference between a full and a half third tone. Yet now I say the half third tone doesn't exist. Well, for us, when we say the third tone, we really don't think of whether it is a full or a half third tone. To begin with, most of us don't even think of tones when we speak. And even if we're aware it's a third tone, mostly it simply feels like a low tone. I didn't notice there were these two variations of the third tone until I started teaching Mandarin to foreigners. So what I'm trying to say is we do say the two variations, but we don't realize it. Foreigners have to learn both the full third tone and a half third tone because they're not used to tones. The reason why I'm saying all this now is to make it easier for you to remember the rules later. I hope I'm not confusing you further. Anyway, in other words, think of the rule of the third tone this way. A third tone changes to a second tone when it is followed by another third tone. Otherwise, it remains as a third tone. Except that this third tone is only set halfway most of the time. Alright, now let's dive into the rules of bu. Bu is originally a fourth tone. Bu. When bu is followed by another fourth tone, it becomes a second tone. For example, 不去, 不去. Isn't this the same as the rule of the third tone? When a third tone is followed by another third tone, it becomes a second tone. When a fourth tone, 不, is followed by another fourth tone, it becomes a second tone. The same rule of likes repel, and they both become the second tone. When bu is followed by a first, second, or third tone, it doesn't change. For example, 不多, 不多, 不来, 不来, 不少, 不少. Isn't this the same as the rule of the third tone? When a third tone is followed by other tones, it remains as a third tone. Let's do a quick summary before we move on. When a third tone is followed by another third tone, it becomes a second tone. When bu, which is a fourth tone, is followed by another fourth tone, it becomes a second tone. When a third tone is followed by other tones, it remains as a third tone. But it only retains half of it. When bu, which is a fourth tone, is followed by other tones, it remains as a fourth tone. That means both the third tone and bu only change their tones to become the second tone when they're followed by the same tone. This is the reason why I said earlier that the half third tone doesn't exist in the minds of Chinese. Let's move on to yi. Yi is originally in the first tone. Yi. Earlier, when we were looking at bu, I compared the rules with the third tone. Now we're going to look at yi together with bu. First of all, when yi is followed by a fourth tone, it becomes a second tone. For example, 一样, 一样. This is similar to bu. The only difference is that while bu is originally a fourth tone, yi is originally a first tone. Now what happens when yi is followed by a first, second, or third tone? It becomes a fourth tone. For example, 一天, 一天, 一年, 一年, 一起一起 This is again similar to 不 except that 不 is originally a fourth tone, while 一 is originally a first tone. Before we move on, let's do a simple summary. So here's a question that you might already be starting to wonder. Well, then E always changes to either the second tone or the fourth tone. It never remains as its original first tone, does it? The answer is yes, it does. Here are the cases where it remains as a first tone. First, if E comes at the end of a word or phrase, it retains its original first tone. For example, 统一统一唯一唯一专一专一买一送一买一送一 Second, if it is an ordinal number, if you're talking about it being the first of something, it retains its original first tone. This can be a little bit confusing, so let's have a closer look. Let's look at 一号 and 一天. These two words often cause a bit of confusion. 一号 means the first day of the month. It's an ordinal number, so 一 doesn't change its tone. 一号一号 On the other hand, 一天 means one day. It doesn't mean the first of something. It's not an ordinal number, so the tone of 一 changes from the first tone to the fourth tone. We say 一天一天 Next, let's look at this word. Should we read this as the first tone 一点 or fourth tone 一点一点 The answer is both are correct. However, they mean different things. When this is read as 一点 in the first tone, it means 1 o'clock, the first hour, the point between 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock. 一点一点 When it is read as 一点 in the fourth tone, it means a little, a bit. 一点一点一点儿一点儿 The pronunciation of 一 can be quite tricky, so let's do a quiz to make sure you fully understand it. This means January, the first month of the year. How should we read this? Is it 一月 or 一月 or 一月 This means 1 month. So do we say 一个月 or 一个月 or 一个月 This phrase means I want the first one. So should we say 我要第一个 or 我要第一个 or 我要第一个 This phrase means I want one. So should we say 我要一个 or 我要一个 or 我要一个 Go over the rules again and think of the answers. Find out the answers in the next lesson. Before I end this lesson, I'd like to talk a bit more about 不 and 一. There is actually another set of rules to them. Sometimes they become neutral tones. When 不 and 一 come between reduplicated verbs, they are read as the neutral tone. For example, 来不来去不去看一看听一听 Also, when 不 forms part of potential complements, it also becomes neutral. For example, in 看不清听不见 不 is short and light.
I've introduced the neutral tone here, but actually, if you find the rules a bit too much, in my opinion, it's totally okay to ignore this last rule of the neutral tone. If you just remember the main rules that I kept repeating earlier and apply them rather than the neutral tone rule, people will have no problem understanding you at all, so no worries. And I personally don't like remembering rules either, so it's probably more effective if you just try and remember 1 or 2 phrases for each case. Repeat them as often as you can, sing them as though they are short, simple songs, melodies, so that next time when you come across similar phrases, just recall these little melodies, and you should be able to say the new phrases correctly with ease. So why not try with the examples I've given in this video?
How did you find the lesson today? Was it too much? Too little? I hope it was 不多不少刚刚好. If you've got any thoughts, questions, suggestions, drop me a comment. Do go over the lesson today and think of the answers to the quiz questions. And find out in the next video if you've got your answers right. Finally, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, join me on Google Plus and Facebook if you found this helpful. Coming up next in a pronunciation series is an introduction to the Mandarin vowels, so look out for the next video. And please also check out my other Mandarin Weekly series. 再见!